There's a stone circle in Ireland called the Beltany Stone Circle in County Donegal that's 4,000 years old. And every year on the spring equinox, the sunrise aligns perfectly with a specific gap in the stones, but here's what makes this absolutely incredible. The ancient people who built it 4,000 years ago somehow calculated the exact astronomical alignment without telescopes, compasses, or any modern tools, and the alignment still works perfectly today, which means they understood celestial mechanics better than most people do now. The Beltany Stone Circle consists of 64 standing stones arranged in a nearly perfect circle on top of a hill overlooking Lough Swilly in Donegal, and it was built around 2000 BC, which makes it roughly the same age as Stonehenge but way less famous. For 4,000 years, these stones have been standing in the same positions, and twice a year on the spring and autumn equinoxes, the sun rises through a specific gap between two stones on the eastern side of the circle, flooding the center with light at the exact moment of the equinox. Archaeologists and astronomers have studied this alignment extensively, and the precision is mind-blowing. Whoever built this circle understood that the Earth tilts on its axis, that the sun's position changes throughout the year, and exactly where the sun would rise on those two specific days 4,000 years in the future. Here's what destroys your mind. The builders of Beltany had no written language, no metal tools. This was the Stone Age. No wheels, no mathematics as we understand it. Yet they built an astronomical observatory that's accurate to within minutes of the modern equinox time. They somehow knew that if you stand in the center of this specific circle of stones on March 20th or September 22nd, the sun will rise exactly where they predicted it would 4,000 years ago. Modern people with GPS and computers struggle to build things that last 50 years. But Bronze Age people with rocks built something that's been perfectly functional for 4 millennia. The stones aren't huge, most are about waist to chest height, but they're arranged with such precision that archaeologists believe it took generations of observation to calculate the proper positions. Ancient people would have spent decades watching the sun, tracking its movements throughout the year, noting where it rose on different days, and slowly figuring out the pattern until they could predict the equinox sunrise location with perfect accuracy. Then they hauled these stones, some weighing several hundred pounds, up a hill and positioned them in exact spots to capture that alignment forever. The spring equinox alignment has become a small local event in Donegal. People gather at Beltany before dawn on March 20th. Stand in the center of the circle and watch the sun rise through the gap in the stones exactly as it has for 4,000 years. Locals say it's an emotional experience because you're participating in something that ancient people designed specifically for this moment. And the fact that it still works perfectly means you're connected across 4,000 years to people who will never be known, but who understood the cosmos. Here's the part that makes you wonder, why did they build this? What was so important about marking the equinox that they spent generations calculating it and then built a permanent stone monument to capture it? We don't know because they left no written records. But archaeologists believe it was likely agricultural. The spring equinox marks the beginning of the planting season, and knowing the exact day would have been crucial for farming communities. But there's also likely a spiritual element. The equinox is when day and night are equal length, a moment of perfect balance between light and dark, and many ancient cultures saw this as sacred. The Beltany Circle also has a tradition that's never been fully explained. There's a large flat stone in the center of the circle called the Axis Stone, and local folklore says that if you stand on it at midnight on Halloween, Samhain, in the old Irish calendar, you can hear the voices of the ancient people who built the circle. Obviously, there's no evidence this is true, but people try it every year anyway because 4,000-year-old stone circles make people believe in things. Unlike Stonehenge, which is roped off and managed by English Heritage and costs money to visit, Beltany Stone Circle is just sitting on a hill in Donegal with no fences, no admission fee, no guards. You can walk up to it any time, touch the stones, stand in the center, and experience the same astronomical alignment that people have been witnessing for 4,000 years. Locals say they take it for granted because it's just there. But tourists who discover it are blown away by the fact that Ireland has a 4,000-year-old astronomical observatory that nobody talks about, and you can just visit freely whenever you want. The view from Beltany is spectacular. You can see for miles across Donegal, and standing in the center of the circle looking at that view, knowing ancient people stood in this exact spot 4,000 years ago watching the same sun rise over the same landscape, is genuinely profound. If you just learned there's a 4,000-year-old stone circle in Ireland that perfectly predicts the equinox sunrise twice a year, it was built by people with no modern tools or knowledge, yet it still works perfectly, and you can visit it for free anytime and touch the actual stones that Bronze Age people positioned with astronomical precision. Follow for more ancient Irish sites that prove our ancestors were way smarter than we give them credit for.